Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Growing Up Blue, where I post weekly vlogs about my Australian cattle dog puppies Rocket and Bindi and take you along on our training journey and puppy adventures. Today I will finally be doing the promised 1K Q&A video. Before we get started today, I just wanted to say if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below right now. It really helps our channel out, and while you're there, you might as well turn on the notification bell so you never miss a vlog Growing Up Blue. And if you can't already tell from the title of this video or how excited I am today, we reached 1,000 subscribers officially on the Growing Up Blue channel. Woo! So I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support so far. I think that it's crazy that we already have reached 1,000 subscribers. I only started this channel back at the end of July 2020, and just a couple of months later, we are here and we're at 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough. I originally started this channel just as a way for me to keep track of Rocket and Bindi growing up when I had first learned that we were going to be getting a little 8-week-old blue heeler puppy, which is Rocket, and then of course it continued as he grew, and then I showed you guys us bringing home Bindi, and I'm just so excited for the future of me continuing to document their lives and kind of just showing you all the tips and tricks that I learn about cattle dogs as I go, because we all know that they can be a handful. But I really just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you have given me and Rocket and Bindi so far. I love all the different conversations and different people I've met in the comments section, and I'm looking forward to meeting more people and hearing your own cattle dog or just dog stories as we go forward in the future. So thank you. Okay, enough with all of the sentimental stuff and on to the fun part of today's video, which is the Q&A that I promised you guys. So a couple of videos ago, I had originally put a call out, I guess you could say, for questions that you wanted me to answer, whether it's about cattle dogs, about my channel, about really anything, any kind of question that you had in the comments section, and you guys responded and gave me quite a few questions to choose through. I did try to collect all of the questions that you guys had, but I do apologize in advance if for some reason I didn't see your question and it's not answered today. If it isn't, don't worry, I will answer your question, so go ahead and drop it in the comments below and I'll take care of that there. As always, before I get started answering these questions today, just a quick disclaimer, I am not a vet or professional by any means. I simply love Australian cattle dogs and want to share my journey with Rocket and Bindi with you guys, because I know there's not a ton of cattle dog content out there, so I hope that by you guys watching my experiences, you can hopefully learn and decide if a cattle dog is right for you. Okay, so I have all of your lovely questions right here, so I'm going to go through these sheets, read them out loud, and then hopefully answer them as best as I can without being too confusing. So the first question is from Bill Inns, and Bill says, my 14-week-old red heeler was going to the door when he needed to go out. It's weird, sometimes he's just like, I'ma stop here and pee. Any thoughts on what we are doing wrong? Happens a lot when he is playing with his German Shepherd brother. Okay, so Bindi actually did this exact same thing, and Rocket didn't really do it so much. He picked up very quickly on the bell and the doorbell, but Bindi got the bell, right? And then there was a point where she kind of just also was playing and then would stop and would pee. And I kind of got concerned because I know that sometimes female dogs can get like UTIs, so you have to keep an eye on them. But what I observed, and maybe what's happening with your puppy, is that Bindi would just get so excited and playing and distracted and having fun that all of a sudden she would be like, oh no, I gotta go. And then she would literally just, she's a female dog, she does this thing where she like drops and squats down, right? So she'll be like, oh no, I gotta go. Squat, and then just pee wherever she was. I think that it was just like her little puppy brain being like a little, baby puppy and just being so all over the place, and then all of a sudden just having to go. So maybe that's what's going on with your puppy too. If you don't already have a doorbell or a little bell, hanging by your door for them to hit, I would suggest installing one and training them to use that. Sometimes, of course, they'll ring it when they just want to go out and play, but it is super helpful because they have that designated way to be like, hey, I need to go outside for some reason. So the combination of having the doorbell and then also just understanding that when your heeler is 14 weeks old, which is about the age that Bindi was doing this at too, they just kind of get really, really excited and sometimes might forget where they're supposed to go pee. So the constant reinforcement of that you should go potty outside should also help. I hope that helps, Bill. Hang in there, and I'm sure your puppy will get the hang of it soon. Okay, so the next question is from Andrea Carrillo. Carillo. I apologize for any mispronunciations that will happen today. Luckily, Bill gave me an easy name to start with. But Andrea says, I love your YouTube channel. You give the best tips. Oh, thank you, Andrea. I have a question. Did your puppies get scared of people? So yes and no. Australian cattle dogs in general are a breed that is very cautious and can be suspicious of strangers. That's kind of why you get them, right? You know that trait in the breed and you kind of want that. You kind of want like a little guard dog in a way. You want them to kind of bark when they hear things. Even though the barking can be annoying, that is literally in their DNA of what they do. So yes, it is normal for them to be suspicious and maybe scared of people at first when they're puppies, but of course you want to socialize them right from day one. And this doesn't mean just like playing with other puppies. It means walking around your neighborhood and exposing them to the weird sounds of the garbage truck going down the street, exposing them to different looking people. They don't always have to go up and interact, and a lot of it is just them watching and taking in their surroundings and learning to get used to these different environments that they may be in. So that's why socialization is so important. It's kind of working against their genes, right? But you do want a friendly and personable dog. Now, Rocket is definitely more scared or suspicious of people than Bindi is. He's really more just suspicious in general. He will freak out at a leaf blowing by on the street. So we've been working super hard with him, socializing him a ton outside lately, and as the warm weather comes, I am so excited to be able to have him outside even more and expose him to even more things, because I think that, his barking and him reacting to everything and just him being a reactive dog in general is because of that socialization. And Bindi, on the other hand, she, can be a little suspicious when she sees Rocket maybe behaving weirdly towards something that doesn't need a weird behavior towards, like a leaf, but she is generally more outgoing and willing to be pet by other people. So I'd say if your puppies are scared of people, to continue to socialize them, and even if it's just from a distance at first, them observing things is a ton of great socialization, and then you can work up to people interacting with them. It's safer that way. So the next question is from Emily, and Emily says, if I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, I would simply pass away. So that's referencing my recently updated puppy schedule video, which I'll drop a link to up here. And so Emily says, Toby's schedule is similar, although I wake up at 7 a.m., go for his hour walk and sniff safari, 30 minutes of play and train in the morning, then I give him a frozen Kong that keeps him busy for an hour and try to leave him alone from 9 a.m. onwards until 4 p.m. when I finish work. I end up caving and playing with him around lunchtime. That's all really great. That sounds really similar to our schedule actually, but this all in preparation for him to learn how to self-entertain when I do end up going back to the work in office 9 to 5. I'm struggling to balance engagement with him versus leaving him to settle calm on his own. Any tips on this? I feel like when I am leaving him alone during the workday, I am neglecting him. I always feel like I'm never doing enough. Emily, welcome to having an Australian cattle dog. Honestly, that's how I feel, and I think my whole family feels half the time, is that, we are constantly exercising them, taking them for walks. And with Rocket in particular, it just feels like it's never enough, like we're training, trying to find all the ways to get mental stimulation, but sometimes they just always need more. I think that this could be because, they're Velcro dogs and they always want to be by their person, and Emily, you're probably your dog's person, right? And so they don't want to be alone, but it's going to be pretty hard when, me personally, I go back to work and my family members also go back to work. We've been working from home in the pandemic situation, so we've been around our dogs a lot. And I'm honestly nervous about the separation anxiety part of things, like the crate training. Bindi loves her crate. She goes in there. That's her safe place. We've been working really hard with Rocket. He's our more difficult child at the moment, and we've been working with him to like his crate more, and he's going in there more and more. So I would suggest the same for you possibly. I'm going to be going through this journey probably along the same time that you are of going back to work 9 to 5. So I'll keep all of you guys updated on how Rocket and Bindi handle it and what we end up doing. But for now, my mentality is that we are slowly going to be building up to them being in the crate longer, so they're kind of used to it when it happens. And then also just making a frozen Kong and putting that in the crate before, we go to work so that they have something to stimulate them. And then I also would say though, if you know that they are going to be in the crate from 9 to 5, plan your exercise around that, obviously, right? So ideally, maybe they would be sleeping, from 9 to 5 or most of it. I know that's a long day. Maybe if you could come home for a lunch break and take them for a walk, that's awesome. But I know that's not a possibility for everyone. So making sure that they get a really good workout in the morning, and then the routine of having a workout like a walk or playing ball right after work, hopefully that will get them in a routine where they're like, okay, wake up, play some ball, go for a walk, and then nap time, chill time, right? And then come home from work, play some ball, go for a walk, and then with my human. Emily, it sounds like you're spending a lot of time with your dog and doing all the right things that you possibly can. And hey, we can't help it. Some people have to work 9 to 5, right? That is a great question, thank you. So the next question, a few people actually had the same question. And Kevin Frank says, thanks for all the work you put into your channel. I enjoy it. Thank you, Kevin. I'm thinking about getting a healer puppy, and my question is this. Do you think it's a mistake to get a healer if I don't have a backyard that it can play in? A few caveats. 1, I live a half-mile from a big park with lots of open space to play. 2, I live in a house, so there's plenty of inside space to play. 3, I have an active lifestyle and want a healer specifically because they seem like the perfect adventure dog to join me on the trails. Thanks for your time. Thank you for the question, Kevin. And Sam Cochran also had a very similar question, so I'm going to read that right now too. I would like to know your thoughts on this as well because I am in a very similar situation as Kevin. I am home all of the time and I'm currently homeschooling my 2 teen sons. We go for daily walks, weekly hikes, and to the beach a lot. We have a large house with an unfenced backyard and lots of wooded area around the property. I always hear people say that you have to have a fenced backyard for these kinds of dogs, but do you think if you have a lot of other resources in place and you have the time to dedicate to getting them out, that it's okay if you don't have a giant fenced backyard? So these are great questions, Kevin and Sam. And before I answer this, I do want to say that you guys know your situations best. And with these dogs, if you've done your research, you know that they require a ton of exercise, a lot of attention, and they are hard work. They're hard to train, but they are also the best dogs ever, and they're extremely smart. So I just want to start with, as long as you're willing to put in the work and time and effort, then yes, you should get a cattle dog. But if you just want to get them because, oh, blue heelers are cute, or, my kid loves Bluey, or something like that, that's probably not the best idea. These dogs tend to be reactive dogs. They can have resource guarding behaviors, which can be aggressive. So with all of that in mind, if you think you're ready for a cattle dog, from all those requirements, we can talk about whether you need a fenced-in backyard. Now, Kevin and Sam, it sounds like you both are committed to exercising these dogs, which is huge for us. Like I said earlier in this video, if you haven't already, be sure to check out my puppy schedule video because it will kind of give you an idea of how much work I and my family personally puts into our dogs as far as exercise goes. And I think a later question too is about walks and exercise, but they require a lot. We live in a city, in a neighborhood. We don't live on a farm, and we don't have a ton of cattle for Rocket and Bindi to herd. But we do have a fenced-in backyard. And I do have to say it is pretty nice having that fenced-in backyard and being able to let them out when they're really crazy inside and just be like, okay, go outside, take this outside, and have them play together out there. Now, if you do only have one dog, that type of situation could be different because instead of them going outside to play with that dog, sometimes you would probably be going out all the time to play with them. It is easier for potty breaks. We don't have to put them on a leash, to take them outside. Of course, you could teach your dog to stay close, but I don't know, I know near me we have a forest that backs right up to the neighborhood, so you might not want your dog just wandering around in there, but if you do have big property that's not fenced in, maybe it's a different story. But being able to just go outside and just play fetch, it's such a wonderful convenience for you to have when you have a cattle dog. But if you don't have a fenced-in yard like Kevin and Sam, just know that you're going to be going for a lot of walks. You are going to be searching for areas to play fetch. Walking is one form of exercise, but it's nothing like running after a ball. That's just like a different kind of exercise and a different kind of mental stimulation, which is so important too. So long story short, they are the perfect adventure dog. They will go with you on the trails. But know that on those days that you're not going on the trails, indoor exercise probably isn't enough for them. You could you know, maybe play some fetch inside, which I've done before, but it's just not the same as them being outside. Rocket, you can tell when he wants to go outside and when he's been inside too long, because he'll kind of get like moody and he's just like, ugh, enough of this place. So ultimately it's your decision, you know, whether you get a cattle dog. And no, you don't have to have a fenced in backyard, but just know that you will be outside a lot with this dog to give them the proper exercise and mental stimulation, or else you will have a complete terror on your hands inside of your house. And I think that that's also something to keep in mind too if you have winter in your area. It does get pretty cold at times, you know, and you don't always want to, but the best thing for your dogs, especially if you don't have a fenced-in yard, is to bundle up and go out there and play some ball. I know that was really long, but I hope that answers your question. I don't really feel like I have the right to tell you whether or not you should get a cattle dog, but I hope that it helps just hearing like how much work these dogs actually are. I'm not going to lie, they're a lot of work, and hopefully that can help you judge whether you do have the capacity and the active lifestyle in your lives to be able to take one of these dogs on. The next question is from Megan Brennan, and they ask, how many walks and play sessions do Bindi and Rocket get normally per day? So again, I'm going to reference my puppy schedule video, which I'll have the link up above and down below for you guys to watch there. But just a short answer, I guess, to this is they get a lot. So in the morning, they wake up, go for a walk, then play some ball. At lunchtime, they go outside, play some ball, and then after work, we take them for a long walk, and then they play some ball, and then into the evening, there's at least one more ball session and then maybe also a walk. So I'd say that they get about 2 to 3, maybe 4 walks a day, depending on the day and how long the walks are and how crazy they are. And then play sessions, they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then of course they have each other to play with all the time. So when they're not napping or playing with us, they are playing with each other and constantly wrestling, so that gets out a lot of their energy too. That's a great question, Megan. The next question is from Fabian Hidalgo Guerrero, and they ask, hi, how much food do you feed your puppy and what kind? So we feed both Rocket and Bindi the same food. They're both puppies because they're under 1 year, and that's generally when you transition to adult food. And we are currently feeding them the Purina Pro Plan Puppy Formula Lamb and Rice. And they each eat 3 meals a day, and Rocket gets a 1.5 cups each meal, and Bindi gets a 1.25 cups of the food each meal. Now these are the amounts we found out worked best with the amount of exercise that they get. They don't really seem hungry, but they also aren't getting too chubby either. I really hate how they do their servings of weight in dogs. Honestly, the Purina Pro Plan has an awful table. I hate that you have to do like a projected weight too, because I know that cattle dogs are like 40 to 45 pounds, maybe 50, maybe, 60, I don't know. I hate that there's such a gap on how much you feed foods, and there really needs to be a brand out there that makes a clear table for their dog food bag and have it say at X amount of weeks, a puppy that weighs this much gets this much food. That's all I'm asking, and I think that's all that everyone else that has a dog is asking. I don't understand why it has to be so complicated. I guess the main thing to take away from all of this is that each dog has different needs for the amount of food that they get. So of course I would ask your vet what's best for your dog as far as brands too. But what we're feeding Rocket and Bindi has been working for them. Of course, throughout the day, their normal meals also get supplemented with, the occasional lick pad or the occasional Kong or bully stick or, treats and training rewards, So it's not like that's the only thing that they're eating, and they're getting a lot of exercise too. I know that was kind of a rant, Fabian, at dog food companies for not being clear enough, but I really hope that that helped answer your question. So question number 7 is from Emily Horton. And Emily says, how hard is it to take care of a red heeler? Okay, so this is a really tough question, a good question, but a really tough question. Red heelers and blue heelers, any kind of dog requires a lot of work. If you are considering getting a cattle dog for your very first dog ever as a puppy, You know, I really don't know if I would recommend that. You kind of maybe want experience with another breed first before you like level up to a cattle dog. That's kind of how you can look at it, right? You can kind of be like, okay, I've dealt with a basic dog, I got the basics down, and then you can jump into like the raptor, psycho, witching hours every hour of the day type of dog. So it is tough, and honestly, there have been moments, especially in the past week, where Rocket has been going through a fear stage right now, you know, after neutering, and then also the age that he's at. They have different stages and you can research all of that on the internet, and maybe I'll talk about it more in a later video, but they have different stages of fear particularly, and right now he's definitely going through one. So he's super reactive. He hasn't exactly been the nicest to Bindi when it comes to her eating food too, so it's been super frustrating, but we have been working very, very hard. So Emily, it is hard to take care of any kind of dog, but particularly Australian cattle dogs require a lot of work. But as long as you are dedicated to put in the time, a lot of time every day, and train them to be the best dog they possibly be, then I think that you would be ready for a cattle dog. Bettina L says, hello there. I have a question. Our little girl Blue is just as old as Bindi. She does a lot of things really well. I am proud of her, but she gets upset and whines for all sorts of reasons. Does Bindi also whine? Does she bark a lot? Greetings, Bettina. Hi, Bettina. So I would say that yes, Bindi whines, and yes, Bindi barks, but it's generally a reaction to something. You know, I've talked about reactive dogs a lot this video, and when Rocket whines, when Rocket barks, it's generally a reaction to something. These dogs can be talkative dogs and just bark to make noise, but I do like to believe that a lot of times, even if it is a small little leaf blowing by, Rocket does have some motivation to his barks. Now, Bindi does whine. She whines, for example, when I put on her harness and leash and she has to wait by the front door when I'm putting on my shoes and my coat, and she's like, hurry up already, I just want to go outside, you know, so I know that she's like kind of being impatient there, maybe a little anxious to get outside there. Rocket will bark at the fence when he sees people walking by, which we're working on, but I know that he has kind of the fear of who is this, what is this thing, you know, by my property, so he's reacting to that. So I'd say that if your dog is barking or whining a lot, maybe really try and study and see what they're whining at and barking at, because once you can address the situation and be like, okay, he's barking a lot at the fence, why is this happening? Oh, because someone is walking past there. Then you know that that's kind of a trigger for them, and then you can work on that with them. And that's really just the game that I've learned that you have to play lately with these dogs, is finding out what triggers them and finding out how we can work around it and train them to get used to it. It really just sounds like a big socialization and a big deep breath, especially for Rocket these days, that everything is going to be okay. So yes, Bindi whines and Bindi barks, but is generally a reaction to something. And also, I know that some cattle dogs are more vocal than others. And the next question is from Javi Travels. And Javi Travels says, I just found your channel and it's awesome. Thank you, Javi Travels. I really appreciate it. I am picking up my blue heeler next week. What size crate did you use for 1 to 6 months? Okay, so to start, Javi Travels, we are actually planning on sticking with the same crate for their entire life. We got a crate and we found it on Amazon actually, but I'm pretty sure Petco has the same crate, and I'll drop a link to that below. And it is called the Midwest Ultima Pro Series 36-inch dog crate. Extra strong, double door folding metal dog crate with divider panel, and it has one of those floor trays that's leak proof, and that's kind of how they pitch it, right? So we chose this crate specifically because it is 36 inches, which is considered to their brand an intermediate size, and they actually have a chart that you can look at, and it says Australian cattle dogs, they need a 36-inch size crate. So that's what we got, one for Rocket, one for Bindi, the exact same crate. And I say that we're going to use it for their entire lives because crate training is honestly the best and everyone should do it. And this crate is really cool because when they're puppies, you can put up a divider in the middle of the crate so it's smaller. You want a smaller space when they're puppies because the more room that they have, the more likely that they'll poop or pee inside their crate. But if you kind of have it like fit their size, then they don't really want to go to the bathroom where they sleep. But then when Rocket and Bindi got bigger, we took out the dividers of both their crates, so now it's really a crate that they can have for the rest of their lives. I like it, it's really good quality. I'll pop a link up above of one of the very first videos, it might be the second video that I ever did, and that is of me putting together the crate. It's really easy. Once you get it, you basically just like pull and it pops up. It was kind of hard to figure out, but then I was like, oh, duh, you just pull it. So anyways, you can see me set it up in that video, and I'm really happy with the crate. It's a good quality, and we'll be using it for their entire lives. The next question is from Marco Kolak. And they say, how did you get the idea to call your channel Growing Up Blue? Oh, I like this question. Okay, so honestly, it wasn't that revolutionary of an idea, right? I knew that we were getting Rocket, and I knew that I kind of wanted to document, you know, his life and growing up, because I was just super excited about having another puppy. And so I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, what should we call it? And literally Growing Up Blue, you know, blue as in a blue healer, and growing up as in I'm going to follow his life. So really nothing too complicated, but it's a cute little name, I think, at least. And it works for the channel and for their whole lives too. So with that, thank you, Javi. That is all of the questions for the day. Let me know if you guys like this video. I really enjoyed doing it, and let me know if you want me to do another Q&A video in the future. I think that it was pretty fun, and I enjoy interacting with you guys and seeing what you have to say about your own puppies too. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below. While you're at it, turn on the notification bell to never miss a vlog Growing Up Blue and stay up to date on all things Australian cattle dogs. And be sure to leave me a comment down below. I go through and read all of them and respond to you guys, not always in the Q&A videos, but also in the comments section. So let me know if any of these questions made you think of more questions that you want to ask, or if I happen to miss your question, go ahead and drop it down below, and I'll go through and read them and let you guys know my thoughts. Also, if you haven't already watched it, I just posted a video of a shopping haul from PetSmart and Feed Right Pet Supply. It's a local pet store in Lincoln Park, Michigan that I really love, and I think Rocket and Bindi are super excited to try all of the new foods that we got. So if you want to see what they got and maybe get some ideas of new treats that you can get your own dogs, be sure to check out that video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you more than you know. We got to 1,000 subscribers, woo! And I will see you again next time. Bye, everyone!